What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Wes Anderson's 11th film, Asteroid City. Yes, Wes Anderson back once again, one of the signature American directors of our time. And Wes Anderson has been in the news lately, of course. AI, Wes Anderson on TikTok and the like has been omnipresent, right? And despite all that, I think having a movie like Asteroid City come out from Wes reminds you of just how shallow the kind of AI homages and inspirations that people have taken from Wes have really been. Yes, we know that Wes Anderson's a very particular, specific filmmaker. Part of that is the symmetrical framing that he does and the placement of props, placement of actors. It's all very specific and designed. And of course, the color palette often jumps out at you. That's kind of where the AI stops. That's like kind of all they grab from Wes. And of course, he has a lot more to give than that. To most people, that's an obvious comment, but I think it needs to be said. Asteroid City premiered back at Cannes earlier this year, just came out, expanded into moderate wide release last weekend, and actually had the biggest box office weekend of Wes Anderson's career with 9 million from 1,675 theaters. A big jump over 2021's The French Dispatch, for example. And it's looking like Asteroid City has a chance to be one of Wes Anderson's bigger hits. I wouldn't say it's going to be as big as Grand Budapest Hotel, which was like a genuine hit movie that he made, but that's still awesome to see a specialty art house film find box office success. We have seen that not be the case ever since movies have been coming out post and during the pandemic. Art house films have struggled to make ground, even the best and most well-reviewed ones. It's been tough. Wes Anderson is a bit of an IP as a person, same way like a Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino is. So if anyone could do it, I suppose it could be him. Great to see that the movie is successful. I think it's a good film. I think it's a movie that takes a while for you to understand what it's actually about, what it's actually saying. You kind of have to unpack the layers of this movie because it's not as straightforward as some of his other work. And I think criticism of Wes, in recent times during the this later current period we're in with his filmography, that has kind of been a theme where like there's maybe not as much under the hood beyond these really well done, well acted, well shot, very specific stories. In a sense, that's perfectly enough to make, I think, compelling films. And he certainly has made compelling films lately. I enjoyed The French Dispatch. I enjoyed Isle of Dogs. Those are his last two films. That being said, Asteroid City has a lot more going on under the hood, and I did not expect that. I think, in a sense, it can be a bit confusing, especially in the beginning of the film, just because it's a bit complicated. Just to kind of put it all out there, Asteroid City is a film that depicts a production of a play, and that play, this framing device, like this play is being shown to you via like a TV documentary with Bryan Cranston's character narrating it, and that part's all in black and white. And then you see like the play being in like film, like in mid creation, and that's all in color. And that's where the majority of our film takes place. But what's really interesting about like this kind of, I think, layered and a bit dense framing device, like it's not super complicated, but you got to think about it to wrap your head around what's going on, is that the actors we see in Asteroid City, us, what we see, these actors are playing two different roles. Jason Schwartzman's character, Scarlett Johansson's character, they're playing both the character in the play as well as the actor playing the character in the play. So we're watching two different performances. And I think it's really interesting, especially with a character like Scarlett Johansson, her character, who plays Midge Campbell. Scarlett Johansson plays an actor. So you're watching an actor play an actor play an actor. And that's, I think, really fun, especially because what that character is about in terms of like wrestling with fame is also something that's incredibly meta, because that's something that Scarlett Johansson knows very well, of course. This kind of stuff. The way the movie ends with Jason Schwartzman's character, Augie. Augie is the character. The actor version of Jason Schwartzman is talking to Margot Robbie, a different actor. And like they actually kind of talk about like the meaning of art and the meaning of their work as actors, even if they maybe don't know exactly what's fulfilling about what they're doing or what it all means. And it's actually like really about something grander than just the story of the Asteroid City play that is the focus, of course, of the trailer and the majority of the actual film you see. And that's just interesting, because you don't really we haven't got that from Wes in a minute, you know. Um, I think my favorite aspect about the film is really just kind of being with the Wes of it all, which would be the in color stuff. I appreciate this greater thematic and like this construction stuff that he's got going on. And like I think it's a really fitting like ending scene. Like the Robbie Schwartzman stuff is really strong. But I have the most fun, I think, with just the Wes stuff, right? So the crux of the film, the filmed in color stuff is we're in this 1950s desert town that's like built up around this impact crater, from a meteorite, and it's hosting this stargazer convention for a bunch of like children. And you have all these various characters with the military involved. You have the scientists, you have people attending the convention, all kinds of people passing through town, already in town. As you can imagine, absolutely stacked cast from Wes, probably his most stacked cast ever. You have Jason Schwartzman, and it's interesting because you have both usual suspects from working with Wes, people like Jason Schwartzman, Jeffrey Wright, Tilda Swinton, Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Adrian Brody, as well as some new faces like Maya Hawke and Rupert Friend, as well as Tom Hanks and Steve Carell, Scarlett Johansson in her first live action role with Wes, Margot Robbie in her first role with Wes. Small characters, small roles. Matt Dillon, Hong Chow, Willem Dafoe, Tony Revolori, Jeff Goldblum, Hope Davis. Loaded, obviously. And it's just a lot of fun, like doing the stuff in the town, like the West of it all. I think some stuff works better than others, but I think my favorite Jason Schwartzman in a West movie in some time. Obviously, it's not like Rushmore level, but I think it's really fun. Tom Hanks, I think, adds a lot in a nice way. Carell's probably the one newcomer who like his character is a bit superfluous and just kind of there for some humor and like it's fun and all, but it's not super special, I guess you could say. Um, yeah, I think like if you just kind of sit there and like put the framing device to the side and just sit with like the story of what happens in this desert town with all these characters, I think it's quite enjoyable. There's a part where there's a government quarantine when the alien returns and to Earth and grabs the meteorite in the center of town, and like it's clear this is like Wes's COVID movie. It's kind of an obvious comparison, but it's interesting. I think perhaps the funniest thing of all, the three young kids who are Augie's kids, Schwartzman's kids, these three young girls, and they had some really funny moments with Tom Hanks because basically these kids are just like unhinged and like acting like the witches in Macbeth. It's fucking hilarious shit, like the way they act, the things they say under their breath, really funny. Love that. In general, I loved all the like the Stargazer award winners. I loved all like the teenage interplay between the all of them. It's really fun. Like they play these mind games with each other to evaluate their intellect and stuff. It's all pretty fun. It's all very Wes, and I think this is a movie that really won't turn anyone into a Wes fan who previously wasn't one, but it'll probably, due to this framing device that I've wanted to, due to this kind of greater ambition as a film prospect, Asteroid City probably will be up there in like the West rankings for some people, just because it's a movie that has a lot more going on than some of his other films, and it's cool that with his 11th film, in his mid-50s, he's finding inspiration to do something he's never done before, even while still doing all the stylistic stuff we come to expect from him that he obviously does so well. So Asteroid City, it's not my favorite West movie, but it's a really good one and obviously worth people's time. But let me know, how did you feel about Asteroid City? How would you compare it to some of his recent work? And for more movie reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.